Right now on KSBY News, police are investigating 2 deaths in an ATASCADERO home. Plus, the Supreme Court justice died today. We will take a look at how he impacted the country. And we have the details on the Republican debate in South Carolina.
KSBY News starts right now.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for the news at 11. I'm Amanda Starrantino. Now to a developing story. Police are investigating 2 deaths that happened at a home in Atascadero. Atascadero police tell us they received a call around 12:45 that 2 people were dead at a residence on Del Zura Avenue, just off of Bahada Avenue. We spoke with Sergeant Caleb Davis with the Atascadero Police Department about the incident.
There's no outstanding suspects. The investigation is still ongoing. Both of the adults inside are both in their 80s. And that's pretty much where we're at right now.
And Sergeant Davis says the investigation will continue in the next couple of days. This is a developing story. Stay with us for more information as we get it throughout our newscast tonight and, of course, on our website at ksby.com. A Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia has died after nearly 30 years on the nation's highest court. Pete Williams remembers one of the most conservative justices in recent years.
Solemnly swear. I, Antonin Scalia, do solemnly swear.
The nation's first Italian-American justice was put on the Supreme Court in 1986 by Ronald Reagan. Though he later became a lightning rod for criticism, he was confirmed unanimously, 98-0, after telling senators he had no plans to reshape the law.
I am not going onto the court with a list of things that I want to do. My only agenda is to be a good judge.
Once there, Scalia became one of the most outspoken conservatives, an author of fiery dissents, and a steadfast opponent of affirmative action in hiring and school admissions, and of abortion rights. The landmark case of Roe v. Wade, he said, was wrongly decided, declaring rights that the Founding Fathers never intended.
Abortion, homosexual conduct, nobody ever thought that they had been included in the rights contained in the Bill of Rights.
Scalia said judges should be bound by the words of laws they interpret, not the ideas behind them.
We're not governed by the drafter's intent. We're governed by laws. And what the law is not what the drafter intended, but what the drafter enacted.
Though generally unsympathetic to criminal suspects, he led the court in expanding the rights of defendants to confront their accusers in court and limiting a judge's power to use evidence in sentencing unless it was proved during a trial. And he wrote the ruling that said the Second Amendment guarantees an individual's right to own a firearm, the court's most important gun case ever. Scalia was an advocate for conservative causes off the bench, too, helping to establish the Federalist Society, which encouraged the appointment of more right-leaning judges.
Mr. Justice Scalia and his wife, Maureen.
He met his future wife, Maureen, on a blind date when both were in college. They had 9 children, 5 boys and 4 girls. 2 later became lawyers, following their father in a profession he clearly relished.
I like thinking about the law. I like figuring out the right answer to legal problems. It's sort of the top of the heap for a lawyer who has those interests.
And in the process, he became one of the most influential justices in the court's history. Pete Williams, NBC News.
79-year-old Scalia apparently died of natural causes while on a trip to South Texas. And now Obama is speaking out after Scalia's death. He says he plans on nominating a replacement Supreme Court justice. The president made the announcement this evening in Rancho Mirage, California. Mr. Obama offered his condolences to Justice Scalia's family and praised him for his service to our country. He then announced he would seek to fill the vacancy on the Supreme Court, saying the nomination was, quote, bigger than any one party.
I plan to fulfill my constitutional responsibilities to nominate a successor in due time. There will be plenty of time for me to do so and for the Senate to fulfill its responsibility to give that person a fair hearing and a timely vote.
The leader of the Senate, Republican Mitch McConnell, says the vacancy on the Supreme Court should be filled by the next president. Speaking of the next president, the Republican candidates for president squared off in a debate tonight in South Carolina. This is 1 week before the GOP primary there. The death of Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia putting new focus on the future of the court and the campaign. NBC's Chris Pallone reports.
The 6 remaining Republican candidates for president on the debate stage in South Carolina, just hours after learning of the death of Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia. The candidates heaping praise on the court's longtime conservative stalwart.
He will go down as one of the great justices in the history of this republic.
Now, with an unexpected court vacancy, many of the candidates are urging the Senate to block President Obama's next appointment to the court.
The Senate needs to stand strong and say, we're not going to give up the U.S. Supreme Court for a generation by allowing Barack Obama to make one more liberal appointee.
While Donald Trump and Ted Cruz have been sniping at each other online and on air after their wins in Iowa and New Hampshire, it was Trump and Jeb Bush who got in the most heated exchanges in the Palmetto State.
Jeb is so wrong. Jeb is absolutely so. That's just so you understand. You know what that is? That's Jeb's special interest and lobbyists talking.
I am sick and tired of him going after my family. While Donald Trump was building a reality TV show, my brother was building a security apparatus to keep us safe.
The World Trade Center came down during your brother's reign.
My mother.
Remember that.
Many analysts say Marco Rubio needed a bounce-back performance after stumbling in the New Hampshire debate, but the Florida senator disappeared from the discussion for long stretches until finally clashing with Ted Cruz over immigration.
And here's the truth. Ted Cruz supported legalizing people that were in this country illegally, and only now does he say he
that is absolutely false.
The first in the South primary a week away, a chance for the frontrunners to solidify their positions or those trailing behind to gather some much-needed momentum. Chris Pallone, NBC News, New York.
And this is the first time in the 2016 campaign that 6 Republican candidates debated on stage. Well, coming up next on KSBY News, we're going to take a look at our microclimate forecast. It has been really hot this week. It was hot this weekend, but hey, we've got some rain on the way. All of those details coming up next. And why SLO County firefighters are preparing for a 70-story stair climb. Join us after the break.
You're watching KSBY News, the Central Coast's #1 source for local news.
SLO County firefighters showed just how much heart they have at a meeting this morning with families throughout the Central Coast who are affected by leukemia and lymphoma. On March 6th, local firefighters will be participating in the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's 25th annual Seattle Firefighter Stair Climb, an event that involves the firefighters to climb 69 floors of the Columbia Tower with full gear on. This morning, the team members met at Station 21 and spoke to the families that inspire them to do the stair climb.
It's all about the families, and we're going for them. We're climbing the tower for them, or for people who have been affected by leukemia or lymphoma.
They even took photos this morning to post along the stairwells of the Columbia Towers to keep the firefighters going during their climb. And after meeting with the families this morning, they were all invited to watch the firefighters train at the Cal Poly parking structure. And Cal Poly kicked off its 32nd annual Western Bonanza Junior Livestock Show this weekend at the PASO Event Center, and it was filled with plenty of farm animals. Cal Poly's annual Western Bonanza Junior Livestock Show is the largest student-run exhibition on the West Coast, with more than 2,000 animals entered in the show, including steers, lambs, hogs, and goats. Exhibitors from Arizona, Idaho, Nevada, and Washington, and more than a dozen California counties will show their animals this weekend, and they're all ages 9 to 19. Then they hope to show off their prize livestock in hopes that the judges will choose their animals as a champion.
It's a really great opportunity to meet a lot of new people, and then of course you're just competing, but it's friendly competition, so you make friends, you get to see some tremendous livestock, and it's just a really great weekend for everyone.
And the livestock show originally ran as a senior project in 1985, and this year it set a record of 600 exhibitors at the event. And it's Valentine's Day weekend, and many people have a sweet tooth for pastries. But you may be out of luck this weekend with last-minute dessert orders. We spoke with workers at Gina's Piece of Cake Bakery in Santa Maria, and they say this is their busiest event of the year. They say that orders should be made a week in advance to be safe, and this year the most popular dessert topping is strawberries.
For classes, cupcakes are the most popular. Parties, the cakes are the most popular. And then Strawberries. Strawberries are definitely the biggest. Definitely the biggest for couples, for families, for everything.
Workers also say that last-minute orders are feasible, and today they can make simple desserts such as cakes, strawberries, cookies, and cupcakes. And back over to our weather. It's been extremely hot out this week. We had record-breaking temperatures. It's hot this weekend for your Valentine's Day, but there's some rain in the forecast, some interesting things coming up. So join us after the break for that. And coming up after that, what caused a 50-car pileup in Pennsylvania this morning? Join us after the break. The Chinese Student Association Club at Cal Poly performed today in Morro Bay to ring in the Chinese New Year. This year is in celebration of the Year of the Monkey. The Chinese Association Club has been at Cal Poly for 50 years. Their mission is to keep the culture going and to spread their history and traditions. The club performs with traditional lion costumes as opposed to other performances in dragon costumes.
It is a bit different. Lions, besides the costume itself looking different, lions only have 2 people underneath it, while dragons have multiple people. It can span from 20 to like 100 people holding it on a stick. So it's a little bit different because our style is a little more acrobatic in the sense.
The Chinese Student Association also performed today at the Coffee Pot in Morro Bay, the Oriental Market, and tonight at Golden China in Atascadero. Well, multiple fatalities have been reported in a more than 50 vehicle pileup along an interstate in central Pennsylvania this morning. Police say the crash happened about 10 this morning Eastern time in the eastbound lanes of Interstate 78, about 75 miles northwest of Philadelphia. Police say more than 50 vehicles were involved, leaving tractor trailers, box trucks, and cars tangled across 3 lanes of traffic. They say more than 40 people have been taken to hospitals and more than 70 people were taken to a shelter.
Yeah, they were already down. There was a whole pile. One was folded right in half. They actually huddled us in. Another tractor trailer driver didn't have anything in his trailer, so he said, you can all get in the back and keep warm.
Police say a coroner is on the scene, but there's no word how many people may be dead. Investigators believe the winter weather and snow-covered roads played a role in causing the pileup. Well, that's going to bring us into our microclimate forecast, but first we're going to start over on the East Coast with another polar vortex hitting up over there. You can see that polar air mass just sitting over the East Coast and Midwest, causing very cold and windy conditions, sub-zero temperatures overnight. But there are some warm temperatures that are being forecasted going into next week, but it's really that wind that is causing those absolutely freezing temperatures. But there is a storm expected for next week as well with those warmer temperatures. 0 degrees in Washington right now, -14 in New York, 19 in Nashville, 10 in Chicago. So very, very cold. You can see our high temps across the nation today. Out in California, completely different story. But let's just check out this one photo. My cousin sent this one in from New York, -1 degrees. I think she's looking forward to coming back to California soon. Out here, meanwhile, on the Central Coast, Pismo Beach looking absolutely beautiful today, especially for all those people visiting for the 3-day weekend. Social media, thank you guys for sending in some great photos of today. Avila Beach, here's a video from there. Those waves were massive, very fun to watch, and those beachgoers, I'm sure, loved it. Our current Santa Maria right now is at 65, San Luis Obispo 59, Paso is at 49, and Santa Barbara is at 76 this evening. Our winds are mostly onshore, but we're going to be seeing offshore winds soon. We have a high pressure system still hanging out over the Central Coast, blocking that jet stream from making its way in, but that low pressure system, you just saw it creeping in. It's giving us a cold front, but as you can see by our temperatures over the weekend, barely dropping our temperatures. But what we will be seeing with all this, the storms of that low pressure system hanging out, it's giving us a high surf advisory. Surf tomorrow could get up to about 12 feet, should be out of the way by Monday. We do have a wind advisory in place, and that's what we saw all day. Very gusty winds. They will be offshore for the most part tomorrow, 15 to 25 miles per hour. Very strong gusts, but those impacted areas it's going to be Highway 101, the Gambiota area, San Marcos Pass, and the lower hills of Montecito. So if you are driving through Santa Barbara tomorrow, be careful of that 40-mile-per-hour gusts at times. Microclimate forecast showing very clear skies for the weekend. Valentine's Day is going to be very nice if you are heading outside. Because of this blocking ridge that we have, it's been very strong. It's been sitting here all week, giving us those record-breaking temperatures, not allowing the jet stream to come down. But with the offshore winds we're going to get early next week, that jet stream is going to be able to dig through finally and give us some precipitation. And we are pretty optimistic about getting rain Wednesday and Thursday of this week, breaking that dry spell we've had so far for February. But as we continue through, we think we could get about up to an inch with this system. Models keep changing with this one, so it's just going to have to see how that goes. Microclimates for your Sunday. It's going to be another hot one across the Central Coast, warmer than we actually expected. A lot of temperatures are going to be in those mid-80s, upper 70s, so great to get out. Those interior valleys cooler in those mid-70s as we get closer to the coast. Definitely warmer in those 80s. 80 in Arroyo Grande, 70 in Shandon, 77 in Los Osos. Avila Beach, very nice at 77. San Miguel, 73 for tomorrow, and Cambria, 76. Our 5-day forecast is showing a warm-up Monday and Tuesday before that rain settles in. It looks like Wednesday is going to be more of the rainmaker than Thursday. We're seeing the same thing for Paso and San Luis Obispo. But once again, temperatures back in the 80s. All right, for more sports, join us after the break. Well, that's going to do it for us for KSBY News at 11. Thank you for joining us. For more news, weather, and sports, go to ksby.com.